Hello everyone and welcome to the New York Empoleon's first game in the IBL Season 5. Now your New York Empoleon are taking on this league for the very first time, so we'll see how this goes. I'm really excited to get a brand new league started with a brand new team. If you didn't watch the draft analysis, go watch that. Now this is the team builder for the first team we are facing in the Lawrence Talonflames, coached by GarchompTheGod. New opponent for me. I've never faced him before. Didn't really get a ton of time to watch a lot of his videos, but I'm excited to face him, and make sure you check out his channel. Link will be in the description below. See what sets he's bringing to try to counter the team that I've got going for him. So, his team: Tapu Bulu, which is his Z user, Mega Charizard X, Empoleon, Spiritomb, Uxie, Hitmonlee, Mudsdale, Raikou, Garbodor, and Slurpuff. Tapu Bulu doesn't have to be using a Z move, it's just the only mon on his team that is eligible to use a Z move. Now you guys are going to notice, first things first, this is this is new. I am trying out in-game usage of the graphics and the stats and stuff. I just think it's cleaner and prettier, so we're going to try it out, at least for this week. I think Showdown is useful for showing you guys the EV spreads and stuff. This doesn't show you the exact values of the EV spreads, but it still gives you the final statistical numbers, and I can tell you guys the EV spreads, or I might put them on the screen. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do the whole layout and everything of this video, but for now, this is what we're rocking, and I hope you guys are okay with it. First things first, we have Phoenix the Miltank. Now, Phoenix was a nickname suggested by a viewer of mine and a friend of mine in my front office, so I figured, let's go for it, see how this works out. I do like the nickname. I think it'll be fun to use this season. So we are going to be rocking out with a very, very defensive, but pretty fast Miltank. Lots and lots of HP investment. So again, do I need to tell you guys the exact EV spreads and everything? It might be helpful, but I'm having trouble deciding what I want to do in terms of telling you guys all the sets and stuff. Because anyway. You guys are here. Alright. Starting off, we have Miltank. Miltank is going to be rocking max HP with 100 defense and an impish nature and 156 speed to make sure it outspeeds Tapu Bulu and other base 75s like Garbodor, as well as puts pressure on Hitmonlee if it is adamant natured and not Jolly. It is going to have Thick Fat this week. I did go back and forth on Thick Fat versus Sap Sipper for the Bulu, but I decided that I was going to run Thick Fat for the Charizard. I think this thing can handle just about any threat that is thrown its way if it needs to. And I am going to be rocking a bulkier Miltank this week. Seismic Toss, Toxic, Milk Drink, and Heal Bell. I think that the Toxic hits so much of his team so hard, with Garbodor and Empoleon being the only two things it doesn't hit, and Seismic Toss doing a lot of work against his entire team, except obviously the Spiritomb, which if I can click Toxic and get out, I think I'm in good shape. Now, the reason I'm running Seismic Toss over Body Slam or another offensive move is really for the Mudsdale. If he's not running max HP, he doesn't quite reach the 200 barrier, which means Seismic Toss breaks substitutes. If he does run max HP, then he hits 207, and it doesn't break the substitutes, unfortunately, but that is what it is. I can probably Toxic it before he sets one up, but I didn't want him getting useful boosts, useful stamina boosts, honestly, so I think Seismic Toss hits the Uxie harder. It does a lot to Empoleon, although I could have run Earthquake or something for the Empoleon, but he does have the Bulu, so I do have to watch out for that. But Toxic is there for some status and some just spreading it around to his team. Next up, we have Altaria, named Altina after the founder of Teleus, nation of Goldoa. The dragons there are inhabitants of that great continent. So, Altina is going to be coming with a mixed set, week 1, Earthquake with Hyper Voice, Cotton Guard, and Roost. This is going to be a naive nature, so minus special defense plus speed, and again that 140 speed, clutch to outspeeding anything base 75. Now this thing is going to have 220 speed in order to get to that value, as well as 188 special attack and 100 attack. Now you can obviously only see the regular Altaria's stats on screen right now, so I will display for you guys the Mega Altaria's on the side so that you guys can see what Mega Altaria actually has when it Mega Evolves, as opposed to what it has when it's not Mega Evolved, because it looks like it has very little attack, but it does get a huge attack boost when it Megas. Now, Earthquake hits so much of his team so hard. Obviously, the Bulu is a problem. I have to make sure that if he does bring the Bulu, I isolate that and take it out. Cotton Guard, super useful this week. Allows this thing to take hits from almost everything. His team is incredibly physically offensive. Hyper Voice Earthquake coverage hits literally everything on his team for neutral or better damage, oftentimes better. And Hyper Voice was used again for a potential substitute Mudsdale, but also just, again, giving me that special coverage so that Mudsdale doesn't just wall this thing. If I did go with something like a Body Slam or a Return, then it gets walled by Mudsdale. It makes it so he has to choose between physically and special defensive, and I can kind of scout. It hits very, very hard through a substitute on the Bulu, on the Zard, on anything. So that seemed really useful to me, as well as hitting the Slurpuff incredibly hard, doing about 75% to a Slurpuff, potentially not allowing it to get a Belly Drum off after a Citrus Berry. But I'm not as worried about him Belly Drumming with the Slurpuff, honestly, against me. Unburden isn't as big of a problem to my team, because the next Pokemon, Cofagrigus, is here with Mummy. And so do you guys see how I did that? That was really fun. Little transition there. But you guys couldn't see because you aren't looking at this show. Anyway, you guys don't care about any of that. So this thing's running max HP, max physical defense, and then 4 in special defense as well. It does underspeed his entire team, which is really interesting. So I know it'll be going second every single time. Toxic Spikes, Hex, Haze, and Will-O-Wisp. Now, even without special attack investment, this thing's 115 special attack is, it's base 95 special attack, but 115 stat is actually really solid. And getting Toxic Spikes up will hit everything except the Empoleon, and then the Garbodor, which soaks them up, and the Uxie, which is levitating. He doesn't have a flying type once the Charizard Mega Evolves. And honestly, I think that getting just Toxic Spikes on everything, I just want one layer. I don't care if I get the second layer of Toxic Spikes. To be honest, I don't even want it. Most of the time, one layer of Toxic Spikes does more for me than 2. Because he can just Volt Switch with a Raikou and only take 6% or whatever. I want 12% every turn. I think that's actually more valuable to me than me getting 2 layers of Toxic Spikes up, and it saves a turn. Will-O-Wisp is there to hit everything that the Toxic Spikes don't. Uxie, Empoleon, and Garbodor all don't want to be Will-O-Wisp, and since they all don't care about the other status from the Toxic Spikes, that gives me an ability to Hex everything on his team with status at some point during the game if it has to. And then the Haze is there for things like the Slurpuff, like the possible Swords Dance Bulu, or Belly Drum or Dragon Dance Mega Charizard X. And Mummy is so good this week. My god, Mummy is amazing. Get rid of the Levitate on the Uxie, get rid of Unburden on the Slurpuff, get rid of Tough Claws on the Charizard, and take those hits just fine. Potentially get rid of Stamina on the Mudsdale if he does hit me with like a Heavy Slam if I predict that, and go into my Cofagrigus. Obviously, if he hits Earthquake or Stomping Tantrum, depending on whether he's deciding to run the Bulu, it's not going to hit, it's not going to make contact, but like, really, like, Mummy looks so good. I think this ability is so underrated. I talked about it in draft analysis. I'm really excited to use Cofagrigus this season. I think this is going to make a great addition to the team. Now, next up, we do have Jirachi, the Hacks God herself. We are going to be running 180 HP, 76 attack, and 252 speed with a Jolly Nature, which speed ties the Charizard, and then outspeeds the Uxie, and I kind of had to do that. I don't hit the Charizard at all. I was tempted, and for a while had a mixed set with a Naive Nature with Draco Meteor on it, but I opted to swap over to Drain Punch to hit the Empoleon. The Figgy Berry is there because I couldn't think of an item I wanted on the Jirachi. This is a kind of a funny story. Like, I had Aqua Berry there for the Charizard, but then I realized, I don't really think that I'm going to be taking a hit from a Charizard. I don't want to leave this thing on Charizard anyway. Just kind of want my rocks up and go. So Figgy Berry allows me to potentially just, like, get a free wish at some point during the game if I'm at low health. And if it doesn't come into play, well, neither did the Aqua Berry in any of my mocks. So it doesn't cost me anything, so I might I might as well run it. So Wish is there for wish passing shenanigans. That's why we're running a ton of HP investment and not as much attack investment. And then stealth rocks on this thing I think are really big this week, and I think I really want the rocks and that one layer of toxic spikes up, and if I can get those two things to stay, his only reliable defogger really is Empoleon. Like, yeah, you could run spin on Hitmonlee or you could run defog on Charizard, but like, it's really Empoleon or bust. And so if I can take out the Empoleon, then I'm in really good shape. And while Drain Punch does only about 30% to an Empoleon per turn, Empoleon's not doing that much back to me. Yes, he could burn me. That is a thing that I have to be wary of, but it is what it is. And I can then wish pass into something else if I need to. Maybe the Miltank, maybe the Cofagrigus, something like that, to take those hits just as well. So Figgy Berry, something I'm going to play with this week. I don't know, Jirachi's not that important. It's sort of just a Stealth Rocker and then Wish Passer and then Iron Head if it needs to try to start flinching things. Also, it's for the Bulu, stuff like that, and the Slurp Up. So next up, we have probably the most important member of my team this week, Kanegus the Terrakion, with a max attack but jolly nature with 196 speed and then 52 in HP and 4 in each of the defenses, just because those are where the EVs fell. This thing literally clicks Close Combat or Earthquake and wins the game. Obviously, there's threats that have to be taken care of before it can quite do that. Spiritomb is one notable one. Mudsdale needs to be very weak. I think Close Combat's going to only do about 40%, 30 to 40% if he's defensively invested, and that's only if he doesn't have any boost. Bulu resists both of those moves. That's why I'm running the Poison Jab, because Bulu could be a pretty free switch into this thing. So what I might do is if I bring it in, and I click Close Combat, he goes into Bulu, then I know that's his switch in. The next time I come in, I click Poison Jab, he goes into Bulu, and we kill it. Now it is Scarfed, because Scarf allows it to outspeed his Raikou if he's not Scarfed, and also because I really don't need any other item, and I do outspeed a Charizard. These are the wrong stats, by the way. These are slightly off because it's level 60, because it has to be, and not level 50. So again, this isn't the best system of all time, but I do like the idea of trying to do this. So this is how we're gonna wing it this time. But I'll put up the correct stats on the side as well, so that you guys can see the actual stats at level 50. But I do have it to outspeed the Charizard after one Dragon Dance with the Scarf. Stone Edge will kill it from full, Earthquake will kill it from partially weakened, and if the grassy terrain is up, then Close Combat can also kill it from a little bit more weakened than Earthquake. So I think this is a really solid set this week. I really have to value this. If it goes down early, I'm not in a good place, and I need to just not bring it in for a little while until everything is chipped, and then it comes in and it sweeps his team. That's kind of the plan with this Terrakion. Now, next up, and finally, we have Yuen. He's just a mage from Fire Emblem, and I don't know how to say his name, and I really didn't think about the fact that I didn't know how to say his name until right now. I just liked it because it looks like, see, here's a picture of him, it looks like the Rotom Heat with the shiny, so I just wanted to use it, and I'm so sorry, I panicked. Volt Switch, Overheat, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split, Barium Z, Timid Nature with a max special attack, and 172 speed, and the rest put into defense, so that Pain Split gives me the maximum HP back. And Volt Switch hits everything except for the Mudsdale, which I can then, if he does bring it in on my Rotom, predicting me to go for the Volt Switch, then I can just Will-O-Wisp on the following turn. Barium Z Overheat's going to hit the Mudsdale for like 60%. It hits everything on his team super hard except the Charizard after it Mega Evolves, and this thing really doesn't stay on a Charizard very well anyway, so I'd probably rather just either Pain Split or Volt Switch at that point once the Charizard comes in. Charizard's not really a safe switch into this before it Mega Evolves, and I don't see why I would bring this thing on the Charizard after it Mega Evolves. My switch into the Charizard is obviously the Cofagrigus or the Miltank. So this thing really can handle a lot of his team, and you'll see that I have a lot of status this week, and the reason for that is because I want Hex on Cofagrigus to do as much damage as possible, and by spreading status, I'm chipping down, and chipping down is what I need for my Terrakion. So Stealth Rocks, one layer of Toxic Spikes, status, get the Cofagrigus to do what it needs to do. If he's got the Slurp Up, value that so I can get it on Mummy later, and then Terrakion should sweep the rest of his team. If not, Altaria should be able to pick up any slack there. That's the way this squad's going to work. I hope you guys enjoyed this new format. I'm still getting used to it. I will figure out a much better system than what I have in place, but hopefully you guys are excited for this match that's coming out tomorrow. I wasn't even going to upload Team Builders, but here we go. I'm so used to it, and I will see you guys tomorrow with that battle against, once again, the Lawrence Talonflames, coached by GarchompTheGod. Check out his stuff in the link description below. Take care, everybody.